Hey everyone, welcome to the Bolt City podcast. I'm Dave Palet, Josh Palet, and Mario Herron. And again, here we are. We know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It's a battle of the Kelsey brothers. It's the Philadelphia Eagles against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers, obviously opponent inside their division. They're going to represent the AFC West, and of course Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts. Two, I don't say exciting games, but games I think that we won't forget for a long time because there are tremendous storylines, guys, in both these games. Now, we picked our games a few days ago and who we thought was going to match up in the Super Bowl. We all basically went the same way. We had Cincinnati, we had Philadelphia, and KC pulled it out at the very end, 23-20 with the victory. One thing I will say, guys, to kind of make me look a little bit smarter, I'm going to pat myself on the back right at the beginning. Mario, last week at this time, you asked me what I thought the point spread would be, and I said KC 3.5, and I was off the whole week, but overall, that should have been the line. I mean, it was a half-point difference. It should have been the line. There's so many things to talk about leading up to the game with the mayor of Cincinnati and Joe Burrow and Burrowhead and everything else. But the way that game went today, and we're going to talk about the KC game first, did the game go the way you thought it would go? And was there anything in that game that you thought was a little bit strange that kind of changed the outcome?
The officiating was strange. The whole officiating in the Chiefs-Bengals game was weird. But we've seen this, right, with the Chiefs. They always get the calls, it seems like. I will admit at the end, the guy in the Bengals, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? It's the last play of the game. The guy's going to kick it no matter what. Why would you push him out of bounds? Are you the dumbest guy in the world? I don't get that at all. But I did think the officiating was bad. It seems like it was going against the Bengals all game. Am I just biased because I hate the Chiefs, or do you guys see it the same way?
I will say the guy that I'm blanking on his name, the guy that pushed Mahomes out of bounds, he's getting double charged for Skyline Chili. Yeah, he's double charged for him at Skyline Chili for a very, very long time in small portions. I agree with you. There's so many calls today where I was like, that just seems. If you're a referee and people start knowing your face and start knowing your name in a game, that means you suck. That's not a good thing. That's not something you want. You want to lay low. You do not want people to know who you are. And today it was a referee show. Let's just call it what it is. Obviously, the redo on a third down was ridiculous. There was a pass interference call, which I thought, he didn't really turn his body at all. That was just kind of A lot of things went in Chiefs' favor to win this game. Yeah, we're a Chargers podcast, and Chiefs can kiss our ass. The referees didn't do good, is what I meant to say.
No, you're absolutely right. It was obviously one of those where we knew the referees' faces. And here's how the NFL does it, in case people want to know. Basically, referees are teamed up with the same guys every single week. And then what they do in the playoffs, they take the best guys at what they do, and then they put them together in a new mismatch of supposed to be referee all-stars that get to do the biggest games. Well, there's not a lot of, cohesiveness between that group. The play that Josh is talking about, and Mario, you kind of alluded to it, was where, wait a second here, you're redoing a play? I've never seen a redo before in any sport. I've never seen a redo. I've seen it on the playground, but I've never seen it in an NFL game, in a game as big as this. And it was big at the time because it gave Kansas City a chance to get one more play, and then that play ended up being a penalty, and then that ended up being a first down. And then you're going, all right, wait a second here. I understand that Chiefs crowds are crazy loud, and if you're a referee on that field, you can feel it too. You can feel what the players feel. But come on, man, you got to be able to be a professional. And it was frustrating. It's something we talked about early in the season with the referees about the age and about being able to keep up with these world-class athletes. Very frustrating. I think if you're a Bengals fan, be honest with you, I'm going to sleep fine tonight. I think all of us are going to sleep fine tonight. None of us, have a dog in the race, so to speak, right? So when you talk about the dumb play at the end where Patrick Mahomes gets, pushed out of bounds, he's already out of bounds and he gets hit again. Boy, I tell you what, look at the guy when you watch the play, because it's going to be all everybody talks about tomorrow. Look at the guy that gets pinned against the bench. The guy just standing there in street clothes. Oh, yeah. He gets smoked, man. He gets you're going, where are the jaws of life to help this guy out? He just got pinned right there against the bench. And you're going, wow. And so I'm going, man, he's going to be one of those guys, like you said, being charged double, Mario, at Skyline Chili. When it came to it, though, the Chiefs kicker booted that thing like you wouldn't believe. It wasn't one of those where he barely made it over. He would have made it from 52 yards out. But you're right. It's a dumb penalty. It's ridiculous. I wanted to see how long he stayed down because I thought he blew his knee out. The way he reacted was he blew out his ACL. And I was like, well, maybe he pushed him to kind of keep his balance because his knee just blew out. But and they helped him up. I mean, he was fine. He was as far as we know right now, that goes absolutely fine. It was a dumb play. Smart guys win, but the referees became part of the story, and the referees can't be part of the story in a game as big as this.
Yeah, things always fall the Chiefs' way, right? Just how the way things go.
Always.
Patrick Mahomes I was going to say, he's the best player in the NFL with 2 legs. He's probably the second best player in the NFL with 1 leg. Like, I don't get how the guy's even playing. Like, a high ankle sprain, he shouldn't be in the game, yet he does enough to win. Joe Burrow, I just didn't think looked good enough to win the game. I know they got a lot of weird things going against the Bengals, but did you guys think Joe Burrow looked good? Him throwing those interceptions deep down the field, I just didn't think were smart decisions.
I thought the play calling wasn't the best. I thought they could push it down the field more. Like only certain situations they push it. I'm like, dude, you could have. Why are you waiting until 2-16 to call that play, or 2-13? Like, you can do that a little earlier. Like, that's working for you. Like, just go to that more. That's what I thought was weird. I will say the one interception he had to Watson, that ball, I was like, dude, what was that? Looked like you're playing Madden and you just tapped the button on accident real quick and they just threw it to God, and it took like 20 minutes to come down. Like, I saw that and I was like, dude, that was not a good throw. Like, right idea, yeah, but if you're gonna throw it like that, you got to lead him, not throw it short. So yeah, I do agree in that matter. Also, Mahomes, without doing the deepest search of his history, but in recent history, at least in my head, I would say this is like one of his most impressive wins he's ever had in his career in terms of him being hurt. And then, if we're just going to be real, he had 2 receivers really out there. He had Kelsey and Scantling, and that's it. I mean, Juju was out. Tony went out. Like, Hardman went out. I mean, not Hardman went out. He didn't have anyone left, and he still made plays against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, that, to me, I was like, that was just one of the most incredible performances you've ever seen. And I know Romo was saying the craziest things ever and pulling different comparisons, but to me, that was a moment where I'll look back and go, yeah, that was a game where I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and that's why he's the best, and we're all trying to catch him.
I agree. I mean, he's the best. As much as I root against him, and I root against him as hard as anybody every single week because I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? And he doesn't wear the uniform of a team that, number one, I root for, and he's in the same division of the team that I do root for. So every single week, I don't know why I feel like I spend time watching it. In reality, I should just feel like I'm watching greatness. And there have been different athletes through my lifetime where I hated their guts, and I just rooted against them to the point where you just go, you know what? They deserve all the credit that they've earned. And guys like Larry Bird, for me, was that guy. You know what I mean? And Tom Brady was that guy. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. I mean, he just is. I mean, here he is on one bad leg, and then when they needed him to actually use his legs, he went for it. I mean, they needed that scramble at the end for him. Tremendous player, just is. And I know we've given him his props, I think, on this show. I think we've been fair to him. I mean, we all had him ranked not only the number 1 quarterback in the postseason, but we also at the same time said he's the best player in the NFL. Joe Burrow, I'm going to defend Joe Burrow here. Remember this, I don't know what the hell Cincinnati was doing, and that can go back to scheming throughout the week. But, man, you had no chance of stopping that Chiefs rush. He was sacked 4 times in the first 9 snaps. That was crazy. I mean, that's like high school mismatch stuff. That's insane to see a guy get sacked 4 times in the first 9 snaps, and you're going, what the hell, man? What did you guys know what was happening? And Chris Jones, I know, only had 2 sacks on the day. He was a lot more dangerous than the 2 sacks, right? All the pressures. You got to be worried what 95 was the entire time if you're Joe Burrow. I thought Burrow made a couple passes that should have been caught. There was one early on in the game to the tight end. It was right in his hands. Didn't catch it. Would have been a touchdown. He hit Jamar Chase right in the helmet. He didn't catch that one either. I mean, even Tony Romo says, hit the guy in the helmet. Maybe should have caught the ball. You know, a lot of times quarterbacks will defend other quarterbacks. I thought Joe Burrow, actually looking at him, I was more impressed today. And I understand 2 interceptions, I think 1 touchdown, 270 yards. Those numbers are similar to that. I don't have the box score in front of me. Very close to that. But I thought when they had the ball at the end and there's about 2 minutes left in the game, I'm like, Joe Burrow is going to win this game. He's going to go down the field right now, get him in field goal position, and they're going to win this game. And I'm looking at that crowd, and I'm looking at that giant scoreboard behind him, flashing all kind of stuff and everything else that's going. And as loud as that crowd was, Joe Burrow looked calm as can be. I was a huge fan at that moment on how cool that kid was of what was going on. And I think, what is Joe Burrow, 26 years old, Josh? I mean, He's not that old. And I understand he played in the Super Bowl and everything else, but that crowd at Arrowhead compares to what they have in Seattle. You just can't hear a damn thing. And I was impressed with him. I know he has bigger games to play in his career, but Cincinnati, I thought, let him down. I thought the coaching staff let him down, and I'll put it on the GM. Look, you had problems with the pass rush in the most important series last year against the Rams. And how did it end? It ended with the Rams pass rush deciding the Super Bowl. And it ended with today. It ended with the Chiefs pass rush deciding the end of your season again, not winning the Super Bowl. So you got to look yourself in the mirror. Are we doing enough to protect Joe Burrow?
Yeah, Joe Burrow's 26. I think he's younger than Stetson Bennett. But I think the Bengals missing – sorry. The Bengals are missing 2 or 3 offensive linemen heading into the game. So why you having him, drop back into these deep passing routes? He obviously is not going to have much time. Playing quarterback in the NFL is so cool for me, like when you're not in the game almost. It's like I'm watching this game. It's like 17 degrees. They're getting the crap beaten out of them. I'm like, Joe Burrow's the man, but I don't want to be Joe Burrow right now. The guy's getting his ass kicked out there. Same with Patrick Mahomes on one leg. I'm like, this doesn't look fun to me. But it's still amazing watching them play. I think these are the 2 best players in the NFL. Would you guys agree? 2 best players in the NFL?
I do. I agree.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like watching them go back and forth was just fun to watch, man. It was a great game. Obviously a lot better than the Niners and Eagles. Eagles might be the best team in the NFL. I'm so curious to see how they look against a healthy Patrick Mahomes or a little bit healthier Patrick Mahomes. But this game today was fun to watch, man. That was peak NFL football today. 2 great teams, cold weather. They hate each other now. It's the weirdest rivalry, right? Cincinnati and Kansas City hate each other, but it was fun, man. As a Charger fan, you want a piece of that. Joey Bosa wants a piece of that. Joey Bosa wants a piece of the fans in the crowd. We should talk about this. What are your guys' thoughts about Joey Bosa's situation, Mario? Are you surprised? Is that something that you expect out of him?
Well, explain the story because some people might have missed it, Josh.
You explain it. You explain it.
Okay, so basically, Joey Bosa's in Philadelphia today supporting his brother. We'd all do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
If we have a brother, a family member there, our mom's there saying, hey, why don't you come support your brother? You're damn right I'll support my brother. I mean, how much time not only have we put together growing up, but we went to the same school. We lift weights together all the time. We've always trained for this moment in our lives. One of us now has a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm going to go to Philadelphia and support my brother. Joey's done this before. Look, man, I have an issue with it, and you guys tell me if I'm crazy. You can go support your brother. You don't have to wear all the 49er gear.
I knew you were going to say that. I hate
it. I hate it. You are making millions of dollars. You are overpaid. You did not live up to your contract this year with the Los Angeles Chargers. And you cannot wait to put on the 49er jacket and sweatshirt and hat and whatever else garbage. I mean, it's goddamn ridiculous. Joe Montana today was wearing less 49er gear than Joey Bosa. And I'm sitting there going, man, I'm cussing when I'm seeing it. It irritates me. And again, call it petty, whatever you want. But it'd be different if Joey Bosa had the kind of year that they're paying him to have. But, man, he was terrible. And he literally cost us the end of the season. So, yeah, I'm burnt out on Joey Bosa right now. Well, a fan yells something to him, and he yells to him basically, you aren't in the playoffs and your season's over. And Joey, man, first of all, man, he makes a homosexual slur. I mean, if you listen to the words of what he said, you're going, are you insane? Like, what are you, in 7th grade? Like, what just came out of your mouth? And the guy's recording you. And then Joey goes and then he threatens the fan. And then he calls him a couple cuss words. And he goes, I can afford the fines. You can't. And the guy yells back, yeah, I can. And whatever. We don't know who that guy was. It doesn't matter if he makes $5 an hour. Joey Bosa fighting with the fan in Philadelphia was insane. To me, it was crazy. The whole thing was nuts, but it got way out of control, and now it's everywhere. If you haven't seen it, you can go ahead and watch it for yourself. But the number one thing that made me really mad was the fact he's wearing the 49er gear. I hated that fact that he's wearing the Niner gear. Come on. People don't think you're rooting for the Niners because you aren't wearing the jacket? Please.
Please.
Stop.
Should have been wearing like his full pads and everything, like his full Charger uniform,
Dude, they should have punished him and made him wear his uniform. You go to the game, Joe, you're going to wear the uniform. You got it? And your black cleats. Yeah.
I gotta say, it's a little nuts, the Karen of the 90s uniform, but I knew it was coming, so I think that's pretty funny. And I love that take. That was like one of my favorite things ever. Like, just why are you wearing someone else's colors or someone's like uniform? I love that take.
When you're getting paid.
And here's the other thing I'll say too is like, you're in Philly, you're getting chirped, dude.
Yes.
You're getting chirped. Like, I don't care if you're a professional athlete and they know who you are and you're in a city like Philadelphia, you're getting chirped. And if you just lost in the playoffs, you're getting chirped. If anything happened on social media remotely close to you, it's getting brought up. And you're going to look at it like right in the eye. The fact that he like stepped towards the fan, I'm like, dude, you're giving him everything he wants now.
Yep.
Like, and he's like, oh, like this is just for your Snapchat, for like your friend. It's like, yeah, dude, it's exactly what Buddy's doing. He's going to, be talking in Philly accent, eating a cheesesteak, going to probably just fought his dad. And now he's going to go chirp you as you drink some type of seltzer. Like, that's what's just going to happen. And you get under like someone's skin that's like famous or whatever. I like, this is my take. And I think someone tweeted it too. Like, you got under someone's skin when they're an athlete, when they bring up money. Like when you have to bring up money, you can insult me in so many ways. Like if that was me and Bosa, I'm like, you got a lot of ammo coming at me. I only have like two coming at you. You can spend 20 minutes on me. So like the fact that you go to money right away, I'm like, dude, let's improve our chirping. Let's improve the chirps.
Josh, what was your impression? What did you see today?
First off, Twitter's gold. I mean, if you listen to this show and you don't have a Twitter account, you're missing out on life. Like the Joey Bosa video, you go to the comments, the first thing I see is the real crime here is that he's drinking a seltzer. It's just like funny.
Yeah. It was an odd seltzer too. It was like I was like trying to recognize it. Like, what seltzer you drinking?
Yeah, it wasn't one of the main ones, but it was funny to me, dude. And Mario nailed it. Dude, you're in Philadelphia. Like out of all the cities in the world, like you are gonna get trash talked 100%. And you just blew the game for the team you play for. Of course, if I'm Joey Bosa, I'm like, okay, who's going to be the first person to bring it up? He brings it up. You leave it alone. And if you say money, dude, like you lost the argument. Period. If you're an athlete, you can't go to the money thing. Everybody knows the money thing is what you have. You got to go to their looks. If I'm an athlete, I point them out what they look like or something. Good thing I'm not a professional athlete. I'd be a jerk. But nah, man, I think Joey Bosa acted poorly, just like he acted at the end of the Charger game. That's who he is, right? That's Joey Bosa makes bad decisions. I'm not surprised at all. Going back a little bit. Sorry to go back.
Hold on.
To the
what do you think? Hold on. What do you think the Chargers think? I mean, Chargers saw that video. What do you think the Chargers think? I honestly believe the Chargers are afraid of him. I don't think they'll say a word.
Dude, if you look in the clip, Brandon Staley's trying to hold him back. Today at the game. They don't care.
He's massaging his shoulders after the game. He's like, "You're good, Joey. It's okay." But I bet honestly they're probably like, why engage in that? Like,
why engage?
Yeah, why engage? Because as soon as you engage, that's when it gets bad. And like how you handle that, I think also like if you come back serious, that's more what they want. If you come back messing around, I'd argue that's like more like the best option. You know what I'm saying? Like if you take it serious and it goes serious, they're winning. But if you go like, no, let's mess around back and like it's a good thing back and forth. That just looked like he was just getting mad, and he was just getting really, really mad like right away.
Okay, so we all know what it's like to get underneath someone's skin when we know we got somebody. All right, I mean we've all played that game a little bit. Let me ask you, that fan tonight, is he more excited that his video's gone viral, or is he more excited that the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl?
His video's gone viral. He's that guy.
I agree.
Yeah, they live off of that. Yeah. Their best player in the NBA just did a suck it thing to their own crowd. I mean, that's what they got going on in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest place in the world. But going back to what you said,
go ahead.
I was going to say the best. I was thinking about. Hold on, Joey Bosa. I was saying I thought about him today during the Chiefs Bengals game because there was 20 quarterback hits or 17 quarterback hits. You're like, I would like some of that for my team. Chris Jones, the best player on the team, he shows up. Our best players on the D-line don't show up. So that's when I was really thinking about Joey Bosa today. But what were you going to say?
No, I was saying the best line I saw all day was because Mike Trout was at the game, wearing a Jalen Hurts jersey. That Mike Trout has been to more Philadelphia Eagles playoff games than he has Angels playoff games.
Wow. That's a layup. It's a layup.
Yeah, but that's Philadelphia fans, man. I mean, again, they find every little thing to get you. They talk about living and dying with your sport, man. The Philadelphia fan base is intense. And look, I'll be honest with you, I've never been to Philadelphia. Mario, you ever been to Philadelphia?
No.
Okay. And everyone I know is from Philadelphia. My college roommate was from Philadelphia, and he even told me, he goes, dude, it's an S-hole. He goes, it is. It's a blue-collar town. He goes, the whole town's an S-hole. He goes, when you look at the area where Rocky goes running through, he goes, that's as good as it gets. It's a dump. And that's why all the pro athletes that play for the pro teams in Philadelphia, they all live in New Jersey. They don't even live in the state. They all get the hell out of there. So to escape, which is what sports is, they put everything they have, man, in Eagles football. And those fans are all into it. I love, by the way, speaking of fans, I know you got more to say, Josh. Nothing did I enjoy more than watching all those disappointed 49er fans going down that escalator, leaving the stadium today in their 49er red jerseys. It was great. All those guys that paid for airfare, hotel, and $2,500 for an average ticket to go to that game today to watch their team fall apart in the first drive was absolutely outstanding. I loved every second of it.
Philadelphia is the place to be if you're a sports fan. You got the Phillies, just went to the World Series. You got the Eagles that are going to the Super Bowl. 76ers are pretty damn good. That's a great place to be right now, but I would never want to live in Philadelphia. No, I've never been there. I have no desire to ever go to Philadelphia, but those fans are awesome. Even the Phillies fans during the World Series, they were all out, even though they lost. I think it's a cool place for sports. I love cities that rally together, even if they're a bunch of jerks like the Philadelphia fans. I'm going to ask you, Dave, today, 31-7, the score today with the Eagles and the 49ers. Were you surprised? Is that what you expected? It's Brock Purdy, going all the way over there, getting hurt, everything that happened today?
That was crazy, man. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. We've watched the Niners story the whole year, and they're on their third quarterback going in with Brock Purdy. And they found one. I mean, it looked like they found their quarterback in the future by hitting quarterback number 3. It wasn't Trey Lance this year, and it wasn't Garoppolo. It happened to be a guy named Brock Purdy. Most of us didn't know who he was before the season began. But you and I knew who Josh Johnson was because, he's a San Diego guy. And Josh Johnson's been with like freaking 13 teams or something. I mean, he's been around forever. And here comes Josh Johnson in the game. You're like, oh my gosh, this would be a hell of a story if Josh Johnson leads the 49ers to the Super Bowl and boom, bangs his head on the ground, like Humpty Dumpty over there. You can't put him back together. Now they don't have a quarterback. And you're like, well, you're hearing Christian McCaffrey is their number 3. Look, why didn't they use McCaffrey then? You know the things you could have done with McCaffrey as far as if he came out of the quarterback position, at least throw a pass. Something you could have him run the ball because all they did was bring Purdy back and he just kept handing the ball after him. It was dead man walking. Poor Christian McCaffrey, man, was falling apart all over the place. That no one's more banged up right now than McCaffrey. Now he has a year to get better, but the 49ers plan to say, F it all. I mean, that's basically what they did. It was one of those like, hey guys, we're just going to throw the towel in. We don't have a chance. We have a quarterback who can't move his right arm. We got another guy out here who's at home answering the iron, doesn't know where his head is. So what do? They had no chance. It was weird. It was over. A game we anticipated that much was over right away. And I kept thinking of Mario. Mario right now is thinking, I should have bet Purdy on the under for yards thrown for. Because right there, you win the bet in the first 5 minutes. You're going, I just won. Guy's going to throw for 17 yards for the entire day. I kept thinking of you, Mario. I wonder what props he picked today in this game.
Yeah, the Eagles alternate spread of -20. That was a lock of the day, apparently. This game was like the Debbie Downer. Like it was just like was watching it and like, okay, it's exciting. When we saw Purdy get hurt, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a Mahomes thing. Or like, it's like, hey, he's gonna be hurt, but he's gonna be fine. They'll just throw quick slants, like it's all good. And then I thought, okay, Josh Johnson, and this is where I just ate everything I've said for the past like probably 2 months, where like it was just punched right back in my face. Josh Johnson came out and sucked. Like he didn't play very good. And I've said it, a lot of people have said it too. I'm not going to go under the bus by myself that, the system's perfect. It's a perfect system that anyone can really do well in the system. And I believe that I'm like, hey, whoever goes in there, they're not going to, be Andrew Luck out there coming off bench, but they're going to be pretty good, sustainable. They're going to keep you in the game. And that was just not the case at all today. The Eagles didn't really win this game either. Like it wasn't like the Eagles had like an amazing game. And I sat here going, wow, I'm blown away. Like even look at the stats, they just didn't. So it was just a letdown of a game. My roommate fell asleep during the game. Like it was terrible. It was put on a second screen at one point. I was like, this is just god awful. But yeah. What do you think, Josh? Were you sick of it?
I was sick of it, man. It was like when you watch a conference championship game, like the Big 12, and one team just blows out the other, and you're just like, what am I watching? And then you watch the SEC play at night. And that's what happened today. The SEC played at night with the Chiefs and the Bengals.
Was that a shot at Mario?
No, it's not a shot at Mario. It was just like watching a weaker conference. I felt like, not saying that the NFC is a weaker conference, but they were gifted this game. I felt the same way about the Eagles. They weren't overly impressive. The 49ers just weren't themselves. The game was over before it started, like you said. Eagles, if you look at their stats, there's nothing impressive. Jalen had no touchdowns passing, 121 yards. Their leading rusher had 48 yards. Their leading receiver had 36 yards. If you were to tell me those were the numbers before the game, do they win or lose? You say, oh, the Eagles lost the game, but they won by 24 points. That's just kind of the game it was. It's extremely boring. But the second game lived up to the hype, so that made it a little bit better. But you always want to expect two great games. Everybody expected 2 great games. I don't know how much you can expect out of Brock Purdy, even if he was healthy. I mean, come on now. He's going all the way to Philadelphia. That defense is the most underrated defense in the NFL. Eagles have a great defense. I'm so curious to see how they match up against Patrick Mahomes.
It is going to be interesting as far as what's going to happen in a couple of weeks in Arizona. I can't remember a game like that where literally you're just waiting for the clock to run out. There's no drama anywhere in there. And I was thinking, okay, there are, all the teams that are sitting at home right now not playing. How many teams could the Niners beat without a quarterback? And the answer is probably none. I mean, there's not one NFL team that the Niners could have got by today on a regular basis. It could have been the Carolina Panthers out there. The Niners were not going to win today once they didn't have a quarterback. And I don't know if there's a team in the NFL that has a chance to win. Omar, you kind of pointed out, you have to have a quarterback that can step in, though, and have an idea of what he's doing. And no offense to Josh Johnson, who's the number 4 and probably doesn't even belong in the NFL. But you saw what happened when Mahomes went down with a busted ankle a week ago. Chad Henne stepped in and led him right to a touchdown. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Chargers have faith in their backup, even though he's nowhere close to Justin Herbert. You sit there and you're saying you have to have some kind of next level guy that can continue to basically move the ball. And the 49ers had 0-0 chance. It was the Christian McCaffrey show, and that was it. I don't even know what the Niner guys are thinking on the plane going back to California. But you have to think, we were ripped off by an injury. We went through this entire season, this incredible run, and we couldn't close out the season because of an injury. The whole thing was really bizarre, So look at the 4 teams that just played today. And we said before the games began, we honestly believe these are the 4 best teams in the NFL. Out of these 4 best teams that we saw today, how many would you say off the top of your head would you expect to see back in the AFC and NFC championship games next year?
All 4. All 4
really?
Expected. I don't think there's anybody. There's not losing their quarterbacks. That they're all getting their quarterbacks back. They all have solid cores. The Bengals keep the receivers. If the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, you'd always expect them to come back. Jalen and the Eagles probably have the best roster in the NFL. And then the 49ers, you have how many great all pros on that team? They have like 9 all pros on the 49ers. I'd expect all 4 teams to be contending for a Super Bowl next year.
I agree. I'm trying to think of other teams that kind of rival it a lot. I mean, obviously, a lot determines where's Aaron Rodgers going to go. Like what's going to be happening with him. Is he going to go to the AFC? What's going to happen with that? What are the Rams going to look like? But if I'm sitting here right now, I 100% anticipate it. I think Niners are going to bring a lot of guys back. I think Bengals are obviously they have Burrow. Burrow's always going to be in there. And right now they have the Bills number. That's for sure. And right now the Chiefs have the Bills number. And I do think the Chiefs are going to massively improve this offseason. I think they're going to go look hard and get a wideout because they're looking at today's game when we barely escaped. We're looking at this season thing. We barely escaped all the way to the Super Bowl. Let's go ahead and get a young guy. Let's get a good receiver, and let's see what's on the block. So I think they're going to do that 110%. And the Eagles, the restructuring that they did between Doug Peterson and Nick, I'm going to say
Sirianni.
Sirianni. Thank you. I shouldn't be saying his name wrong. Whatever.
It's Italian, like you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm disrespecting my own people. But like the restructuring they did is like remarkable. Like that, I feel like that doesn't get talked about enough of the transition that the Eagles just went through and the position they're in now, and especially with the big miss that they had on missing out on Justin Jefferson. Like that is remarkable. Before we do the story for Super Bowl of the Kelsey brothers and the Andy Reid game, let's do a story about Howie and everything he's done with that organization because it's been incredible.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. What Philadelphia has done is pretty amazing. I think if you're a fan of a team that hasn't been to a Super Bowl, which we are, you go, how the hell does Philadelphia pull this off? How does Philadelphia pull off a Super Bowl win against the New England Patriots, fire their head coach, regroup, new quarterback? Again, I mean, basically Nick Foles wasn't the guy. Carson Wentz wasn't the guy. They drafted Jalen, who a lot of people didn't think was the guy. And then here they are back in the Super Bowl again. Just an outstanding job by the front office. I mean, really, that's what the NFL's meant for. It's meant to turn things around in a hurry to keep you interested in your team. And for Philadelphia to be back in it is absolutely incredible.
I think one of the great things about the Eagles, what they've done restructuring their team, is they're probably the best in the NFL. If you're not working out there, they're just going to move you out. Like Carson Wentz, hey, we don't care about your feelings. You're gone. Jalen's in. Mm-hmm. Anybody that isn't performing on that team, they're out. And they just don't care. Jalen Reagor, who Mario just spoke about, was the guy they drafted instead of Justin Jefferson. Jalen Reagor's not even on the team anymore. They just do not care, dude. If you're not performing, you're off the team. Bringing in AJ Brown was the move of the century for the Eagles. Such a deadly combo you have with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Kenneth Gainwell was drafted in the later rounds. Miles Sanders wasn't a first-round pick. Jalen wasn't even a first-round pick. They've done a fantastic job drafting and making this a full-rounded team. How do you guys see this game shaping out with the Chiefs and Eagles? Do you think one team has an advantage?
Mark, go ahead.
So, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to say it. This is Eagles game to lose 110%. I don't think there's any way around it. Like, if you look at just all the guys that were out for the rest of the game for the Chiefs, right? Like, you look how weak their receiving core is. If you think that the Bengals secondary did good tonight or is a good secondary, which they are, Eagles is better. And not only that, Eagles front is better. That's a lot better front seven that, by the way, had the most sacks in the NFL. So I look at that and I keep that in my head. And on the other side, you have a team on the offense side of the ball that can really attack you in the air and attack you on the ground. The Bengals didn't even really try the ground game today at all. Like they just didn't. I mean, Joe Mixon had 8 carries for freaking 19 yards. Joe Burrow was their leading rusher. That's not going to happen with the Eagles. They're going to pound it down your throat. I think this is Eagles game to lose. Mahomes is 110%. Yes, Mahomes versus Hurts. I would take Mahomes. But I think it's 110% Philly's season. This is Philly's game. It's theirs to lose. Who's going to cover A.J. Brown? 2 rookies? You're going to put 2 rookies like you did on Higgins on A.J. Brown? Good luck, buddy. You know, they played their asses off today, but that's not going to work in Arizona against the Philadelphia Eagles.
I agree with this. Right now, you know, here we are right after, you know, we just found out who's going to match up in the Super Bowl. Next 2 weeks, a lot of things are going to come out. But right now, in my mind, it's Philadelphia. And it's Philadelphia because even though they might not have the big stars that, let's say, San Francisco has, they have the best, well-rounded team in the NFL. I mean, they are absolutely incredible as far as they say, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles are. Their offensive line is insane. Philadelphia's offensive line is fantastic. And you saw what happened to Joe Burrow today. But Chris Jones is outstanding, one of the best players in the NFL. It's not going to be the same outcome. It's not it. They just have too many guys that can sit there and protect Jalen. Jalen's a fantastic runner. We mentioned that before. The receivers that the Eagles have are absolutely, you know, incredible. Weather's not going to be a factor in this game, obviously, because it's played indoors. Right now, off the top of my head, I'm going it's the Eagles game to win. And Mahomes would fall to 1-2, right, in Super Bowls if they lose this game. And so, again, we talked about the Kelsey brothers, and Josh, I'll ask you about Philadelphia. But I want to ask you guys, biggest story going into the Super Bowl, is it the Kelsey brothers or is it Andy Reid coaching against his old team?
Oh, that's such a great question. It's going to be the Kelsey brothers, I think, because they have that podcast together. There's 2 stars, absolute stars. Travis Kelce, second best player on the Chiefs. And Jason Kelsey's really the captain of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's the longest tenured player on the team. So I'd say that's probably the bigger story. Andy Reid against his old team is awesome. I'm a big fan of Andy Reid. For all you Charger fans that are listening, I'm sorry. I am. He's a great coach, and I respect him. But for me, the bigger storyline would be the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah, I want to say Reid so bad because I still remember him in a big black jacket coaching the Philadelphia Eagles with Donovan McNabb. I still remember that. And
he's still in a big black jacket. He's still in a big jacket.
Yeah, he's still in a big jacket. Oh, yeah, jacket might have gone up in size.
Yeah.
So I still remember that, but since it's because I think is it 3 head coaches removed? Doug Peterson. I can't remember who the coach was.
I don't know.
Andy. Yeah. But so it's a couple coaches removed. It's not immediately removed. So I think if it was like that, I really don't want to say Kelsey brothers either, though, because Travis is so freaking annoying, dude. Like, he's just so weird to me. Like, I think he's the weirdest guy, one of the weirdest people in the NFL to me. Just like, I can't get over the dating show. Maybe it's because I can't get over the dating show. Like, that's why. I'm like, dude, who creates your own freaking dating show?
A smart guy.
Yeah,
it's
but
idea.
In season, you better be scoring. But I know it's filmed earlier, but still, you better be scoring some TDs if you're you're filming in season.
I'll tell you right now, and Jason Kelsey, who's the older brother, I'd put him in my top 10 of least guys I'd want to fight. Like,
yeah,
he you know what I mean? He's intimidating as hell. Jason Kelsey's like a guy you wouldn't mess with. You made a bad business decision. You want to fight Jason Kelsey in a bar. Not a good decision.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a fun matchup. Josh, I love this matchup.
You never answered the question, Josh. Who both Mario and I think it's Philadelphia's Super Bowl to win. Who do you picking?
I'm gonna go the opposite of you guys. If Patrick Mahomes is kind of healthy, I got to go with the Chiefs. I can't put Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. I want to. Today was the first time he's ever been an underdog in 12 playoff games, just because he was hurt. Give him 2 weeks to get a little bit more healthy. He has more experience than the Eagles. I think it's the Chiefs, not by a lot. I don't think they're going to be favored in this game, but I would if I had to pick, I'd say the Chiefs would be the team to win. Here's the thing also, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen are more similar than people think. They're both from Texas. Both guys were asked to play different positions. Patrick Mahomes, if you don't know, was asked to play safety in college. He said, I'm a quarterback, smartest guy in the world. He is a quarterback. Jalen Hurts was asked to play every other position but quarterback, chose to play quarterback. So these two guys are underdogs. I love the underdog story. I love that these two guys are near the same age, both from Texas. Both are incredible stories. I love this matchup between the Eagles and the Chiefs, and I want the Eagles to win because I'm a Charger fan. So hopefully the Eagles win, but I think the Chiefs are going to be the team that wins.
You guys want to guess the spread?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I got it up right now.
Okay. I'm going to go. Again, I messed it up last week. I'm going to go Eagles are favored by 3.5.
Okay. Josh?
I go Eagles -3.
Ooh, Josh, you're closest. Eagles 2.5.
Okay,
Chiefs
what are you going to do?
+110.
As the guy that's the gambler on the show, where are you going?
I would take 2.5. If it goes to 3, I think you have to start looking at Chiefs, but I would take 2.5 right away with the Eagles.
What's
just don't
over under
49.5.
Ooh.
Yeah. By the way, we're gonna have some fun with these prop bets for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get weird with them.
How did we do last week on our How did we do last week on our bets? Because I think it was the under in both games today. Am I right on that?
The under closed at 48 so it hit in both. So under. So I did the best today. What do you know?
Nice.
What do you know?
Wait, actually, never mind. Me and Josh tied. Yeah, Josh and I tied because Josh took the under in Bengals game. So yeah, Josh and I tied.
There you go.
And you come in last,
okay.
Dave. If you didn't put that together.
It's happened before. I figured it out. I'm used to it. I'm just curious to know where it's at. Yeah, it's exciting. Do you guys like the 2 weeks for the Super Bowl, or do you wish they played next Sunday?
I wish they played next Sunday. I understand why they do the 2 weeks because of media, but I wish they played next Sunday. Yeah. It's still better than college football where they have a whole month to prepare for their bowl game, which is the dumbest thing in the world. But I prefer next week, but 2 weeks isn't terrible. It's not that bad.
I like the 2 weeks just because like the guys that got hurt in these games are a little banged up. Like they have a big chance to be 100% by game time. Builds up to I wish like college basketball or like NBA did something huge though on that like Sunday in between. Like you finally have a day in the weekend where like you could take advantage of it. It's like let's spread the board on something instead. I don't want to watch the Pro Bowl, flag football.
So I like the 2 weeks because of the injury factors. Like everyone says, do you want to see what guys look like at their best, right? And we all know Mahomes, who's probably the best overall player in the game, is banged up. So does it give him a chance to get a little bit healthier Obviously, I'm not cheering for the Chiefs, but you always want to say, hey, no excuses. At the end, no excuses. The best team, best players, all that stuff that are going through it. It's always interesting the way it works out. As guys say, it is tough because you have to take care of so many family and friends. Like if you're a player in this game, now you're doing the ticket deal, and the tickets cost a ton of money, and you got to say, how many people am I going to buy actual tickets for? I'm going to take care of the high school assistant coach. Am I going to take care of the kid I went to 7th grade with? There's so many things that just get out of hand where by the time the second week comes around, really your only responsibility is that Tuesday when you're meeting with the media. We've all seen it where the guys are in their individual booths and they're sitting there and they're talking to the media guys, and you get the crazy questions and everything else. But otherwise, it's by next week, it's the regular NFL schedule. You're focusing on what can you do to stop that team or score points on the team you're going against. So I don't know. I'm in favor of it.
How do you think these teams travel? The Eagle fans are nuts. We all know the Chiefs fans are nuts. Do you think it's a 50-50 split with how many fans of each team go to the game?
Ooh. I mean, here's the flip side. With how much more expensive a ticket was today for Philly than Kansas City, maybe there's some Philadelphians that spent a little too much in the bank account for the NFC Championship. And suddenly the plane ticket and the hotel and the Super Bowl tickets looking pretty expensive.
Here's
one thing about this. Go ahead.
Hold on, Dave can attest to this. He was at the Alabama National Championship game in 2017, and the Alabama fans sold their tickets to the freaking Clemson fans. It was like a 70-30, maybe like 80-20 split because Alabama fans are spoiled.
Yeah. The only Alabama fans there, I swear to God, were the parents and the band.
Yeah. And the girlfriends.
That was it.
And the wives.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Chiefs are kind of like Alabama at this point. They have a little dynasty running with how much they've won. Do you think they sell some of their tickets? They're closer, obviously, to Arizona than the Eagles fans. But the Eagles fans don't get to go to the Super Bowl that often. They were there a few years ago, but I feel like the Eagle fans are going to travel.
Okay, so here's a couple things. One is I think there are Eagle fans all over the place, right? I mean, when you find the right job, you make enough money, you get the hell out of Pennsylvania, right? You're going to move somewhere else. I went to the grocery store before the game today. I'm not joking. And right now I'm in San Diego. I went to the grocery store today. There are at least 20 Philadelphia Eagle jerseys in the grocery store. And you're at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, wow. And I started talking to a few of them, just asking. Saw 0 Chiefs jerseys, any Chiefs sweatshirts, anything like that. But there were Eagle fans all over the place. And there are, obviously Philadelphia fans. You see a lot with, Chicago Cubs also who in California. They're Cubs fans everywhere. One thing about the Super Bowl, you really don't have that home field advantage, right, with the fans. There's so many tickets that are sold to corporations that are NFL partners that it seems like and that's one of the things people complain about, that maybe the team with the best record should have a chance to host the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a huge event. It takes a year to put it together. You can't just say all of a sudden you have 2 weeks for Philadelphia you're going to host. It doesn't work out that way. It's not. The NFL makes a ton of money off this game. Obviously, it's the most watched event of the entire year by far. I mean, TV ratings always come out. The Super Bowl wins every single time. Last year, when the game was in Los Angeles and the Rams were hosting the Super Bowl at SoFi, there were more Bengals fans at that game than Rams fans. Cincinnati fans ponied up for those tickets, and so. I would say overall, Josh, I'm going 50-50 split on this, and I don't think you'll notice either way, one way or another, the Philadelphia fans or Chiefs fans. I don't expect it to be crazy loud. Like it's not like what you saw in Arrowhead today.
I'm going to go 60-40 Philly. Because I think, to your point, Josh, that's a good point, like the BM fans getting tired. If Mahomes won 2 already, I would say they'd be like, okay. But since he hasn't won 2, I think there's still going to be a ton. But the craziness of Philly, where they're like, we want to get there, doesn't really happen very often, even though it's, 2017 is the last time they went there. And it's probably like, if you're from Pennsylvania and you're listening to this podcast, you might unsubscribe, but I promise you should keep subscribing. Because let's face the facts, because a Kansas City fan will politely ask you for your ticket. Philly comes with the knife. So they'll put like something and they'll have some threats where you're like, I don't want to go to the game anymore. Actually, here's my ticket. So I don't know, but I'd say 60-40. I think it's going to be pretty even house there in Arizona.
Yeah, I think if you're going from a fight perspective, 2 Chiefs fans for every 1 Eagles fan, right? Eagles fans are nuts. Me and my dad worked with a guy that was an Eagles fan, and he was the most unique person. And I don't mean that as a compliment at all.
No, he was.
One time, I'll tell a quick story. We had a potluck, and he showed up early for work and cooked a baked chicken with his bare hands on a table, and it was disgusting. And I walked in, I go, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Cooking chicken." I go, "With your bare hands? You didn't even wash your hands." He goes, "Just don't tell anybody." I was like, "All right, you're a freak," and
That's
I just walked
disgusting.
away. That's the type of Eagles fans we're dealing with here. So, like I said, in a fight, I'm taking 1 Eagles fan for every 2 Chiefs fans. 2 Chiefs fans are pretty nice people, from what I understand. Hate them, hate the Chiefs, but I hear their barbecue's great, and I hear they're nice people.
2 different fighters coming in. So more city guys versus probably a little bit more country boys.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting strategy we got down here.
You got country strong. You got the blue collar guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're walking down the street with a group of guys, okay, and then they're gonna cross the street. All right. Would you rather be on the Philadelphia side or the Chiefs side? I'd rather be on the Philadelphia side. There's certain fan bases you're like, Carolina, come on, please. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like certain fan bases, keep walking. But then there's some fans like the Raider fans that you sit there, you know what? I'm not going to make eye contact, kind of a deal. Where you just don't want to take a chance that something's going to go down in the intersection. If I'm an Eagles fan and I'm walking to the group of Eagles fans, I feel like I can go wherever I want. We own this. We own this city now. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I think us 2 have a problem leaning too far into it with the Philly fans. Like, we'd be like, this is like we would look more. Yeah. yeah. It'd be fun for an hour. Can't tell me it wouldn't be.
Yeah. Eagles fans are so nuts. One of the best videos in the internet history is this. Everybody's probably seen it by now. The guy saves like a baby, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was it a baby?
It's my favorite video of all time. It was a fire. It was a fire in a building that threw a baby out the window.
And the reporter asked the guy, what happened? He goes, "Well, I caught the baby, unlike Aguilar."
Yeah.
You found Nelson Aguilar. Dude, he looked right at the camera. He goes, "They threw a baby out of the second story. I caught it. Not like Aguilar." And he looks right at the camera. It was fantastic.
It is great.
Dude, they booed Santa Claus in Philadelphia. I mean, god dang, man. They don't mess around. They don't mess around at all. It's going to be exciting, man. We're going to talk a lot about it, obviously. I love what Mario said, the different prop bets and everything that's going to come up. I'm interested to see what happens about the Joey Bosa thing in the next couple of days, because people are going to talk about that too. But one of the things I want you guys to think about is more as far as the question I asked you earlier about these 4 teams. Do you see them back in the NFC, AFC championship games next year? We all know that teams get hit with salary cap problems and they can't afford guys. And neither one of you guys said the Buffalo Bills. And then we've realized the Buffalo Bills are going to lose a lot of players because of the way the contract situation is and hits. And Mario, you brought up Aaron Rodgers. A lot of talk about Aaron Rodgers. The story is Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back to Green Bay. We'll talk about destinations for him in the next show as well. But I think you're leaning right that it's AFC, that the Packers are going to try and get him out of the NFC so they don't have to see him in the playoffs. But, man, so many things going on. Again, Charger news. We'll get into Justin Herbert, more about him. Of course, if you don't know, Justin Herbert had shoulder surgery. He had a torn labrum in his left shoulder. We'll talk more about that. And the Chargers keeping that quiet for the longest time. But so many things we want to talk about on this Bolt City podcast. It's the Chargers that need to get ready for the 2023 season, and how are they going to do that? We'll be back in a couple of days. We appreciate you guys listening. Please leave notes, comments for us. We try and answer all of them. Again, for Josh Palet, Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. We'll see you next time on the Bolt City podcast, courtesy of Odyssey.